credit repair, and local here in Dallas, and in the credit repair business. Been around for a few years, and just kind of came with him, hanging out, tagging along.
Billy's an awesome dude. Thank you.
Wayne, so as y'all know.
We only talk on Facebook, so it's good to see him in real life every once in a while.
Jeff Ducharme. I actually live in Lincoln, Nebraska, where it's a hell of a lot colder. Actually down here, St. Ryan. I own a couple different companies ranging from a business brokerage, we buy and sell businesses, to a consulting and a lead gen firm, and a few other things here and there.
Awesome. We all learned a lot from this dude.
Yeah, Billy, how long have you been riding with me? 4 years. Jeff, you?
A couple years now.
Yeah, so been long-term clients like some of you in this room that I've seen over and over again over the years. So, well, thanks for having us, Wayne. What's up, sales pros? I promised I would stream, so I'm not gonna pay any attention to you, but you can pay attention to us. So today I'm gonna talk to you about a couple things. How long do I have, Wayne?
Dude, we're here till 5, so take it away.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm going to take you through a progression of mindset stuff, okay? One of the things Wayne said was he said, how many of you have noticed a change in me over the last few years? So I started off really aggressive online, like really aggressive. Like I made a lot of mistakes and, talked about being high all the time and doing drugs and calling people out. I was, out of my mind, but I also understood the principle of attention. But going through all that, as I grew and changed, I had to make a lot of changes. And so over the last 2 years, I've spent a lot of my time rewiring my mind. I've hired some of the best therapists in the world, some of the best business coaches in the world, some of the best personal development trainers in the world, because I figured I got the business side of things down. But the problem is I woke up one day and I have everything I want. The wife, the kids, the house, the cars, like everything that you can imagine, except for I really wasn't happy. You ever heard the saying, like, money doesn't buy you happiness? Well, I didn't believe that shit. Right? I was like, well, who says that? Everything that makes me happy costs money, But the truth was I had these issues that I had to work out. And I have everything that I had worked my entire life for. Everything that was on the vision board had become a reality for me. And I was just burned out and angry all the time. It wasn't serving me, right? Because if you don't value what you have now, you'll never value what you get next, And so I wasn't really valuing what I had now. So I set off on this journey to find what the fuck was wrong with me. And I go meet this guy named Dr. George Pratt. He was a recommendation to me from Frank Kern. This is Tony Robbins' therapist. He's Phil Mickelson's therapist. And Rob Dyrdek's been on Impact Theory talking about how he changed his life and stuff. So dude's got some pretty good street cred, right? So I go see him, and he shakes my hand. And one of the first things he says is you got some serious abandonment issues. And I'm like, damn, this guy's good. I didn't really think of that until that moment, right? And I was like, wow, this guy's good. And he goes, you must have been left a lot in your life, huh? He's like, tell me a little bit. And I started telling him the story, and it all at that moment started connecting. I was like, well, I was adopted when I was 7 years old. And then I went this and that and other. And he's like, holy shit, every relationship you've ever had has been severed. We got to work through that, right? And so because of that, I had developed this scarcity mindset, which is what had me mad all the time, right? I was mad because if I saw you winning online, I felt like I was losing. If I saw you closing a real estate deal, I felt like I lost a deal somewhere. If I saw somebody else that was getting success with another coach, I was like, well, shit, that person just took money from my family, right? That was the way I looked at it because I had this scarcity mindset. Because in order for you to win, that must have meant that I lost. And that's how I had looked at everything. And what made it worse is one of the things is if I didn't think I would win, I would make sure that I was the one that conceded first. Right? I would run off relationships. I'd be the first one to tell somebody to fuck off and everything else instead of working through it. Because I thought, well, you can't hurt me if I get rid of you first. Right? Anybody in the room ever felt that way, for being honest? Right? And a lot of it comes from our parents and things like that, our upbringing. Obviously, I was adopted at an early age. They say that you're the most impressionable between the ages of 3 and 7. So think about it. By the time that I was 7 years old, I had a whole different set of parents. I had a different place to live. My grandparents didn't talk to me anymore. It was shit, everybody that you thought loved you and kept you warm and all that shit was gone all of a sudden. Plus, when I was young, my family had a little bit of money, and when the S&Ls crashed in the 80s, they lost it all. So I learned at a young age, easy come, easy go with money. I learned at an early age, easy come, easy go with people that love you. And then I had this scarcity of losing people forever. Fuck, I've been divorced 3 times. You know what I mean? I've lost every time that I've truly given my heart to somebody, my parents, my wives, and things like that. I've lost somehow. I never filed for divorce, right? But they've all been filed on me. They abandoned me. So I created this hardness on my heart. So I worked with this doctor for quite a while. And because that's what crazy people do. You can't fix crazy in one day. You know what I'm saying? In 90-minute session, you can't rewire a motherfucker like me, right? So I had to see him for a while. And I learned some things. And because of that, I also met a guy named John Cheplack. I think he spoke at some of your stuff before, right?
Yeah.
And I paid a lot of people a lot of money over the years, and I can tell you that John Cheplack was the single best mindset investment that I have ever made. Just the way that he thinks and how tuned in he is, it really changed my life. And so because of that, I tell you that story because of this. I'm about to teach you some shit that's real simple, okay? It will change your life. It's easy, and here's the problem with a room like this. Everybody in here is smart, right? We're all above average performers, or you wouldn't be in this room. The problem with you guys is you overcomplicate shit so that you don't have to do it. True for anybody, if you're being honest, right? Okay, the rest of you that didn't raise your hand, right? So that's what happens. We overcomplicate shit, but I was in an event with Lou Holtz not too long ago, legendary college football coach, right, with Notre Dame, and he said, everything on this planet's simple, we just make it complicated. He said, there's only 4 seasons, 7 colors. The list goes on and on. There's no infinite scale. Everything that we were given is super simple on this planet. We just tend to complicate it and fuck it up, right? And so I'm going to give you some simple stuff today because, first of all, I think that's my biggest talent, being able to take simple things, or being able to take complicated things and make them real simple, because I only have an 8th grade education. School abandoned me too. and so because of that, I can't take big complex, like I can't wrap my mind around it, so I have to be able to break small portions of big complex things down to real simple stuff to where I can understand, to where I can take action on it, right? And so I'm going to give you this today, and I promise you, if you'll enact it, it won't change your life walking out of this door. It won't change your life the second the words exit my mouth, but it'll change your life if you follow this routine over a period of time, okay? So the first thing that I had to do was I had to change my mindset from being scared and having these abandonment issues to the opposite. What would you think the opposite is? Abundance, right? Okay. What do you have to have in order for stuff to be abundant? A lot. But like love, right? Like you would have to have love, right, in order for abundance to be there, right? You would have to have gratitude, right? You would have to be grateful for the things that you have so that you can have more, right? Like I just told you earlier, if you don't value what's now, you sure won't value what's next. And so I had to understand that I had to rewire my mind to be grateful for everything, including the shit that goes wrong. And boy, that's not easy to accept. You know, I don't like to publicly admit it, but shit, I like to play the victim card and when I'm in a dark corner by myself. You know, why me, man? This shit again? Why me? Why do I always got to go through this? Why? Because I can fucking handle it. That's why. Nobody else can go through what I've gone through because they can't fucking handle it, but I can. So instead of saying, why me, and be the victim, be like, I'm thankful that I'm strong enough and got big enough shoulders to be able to carry all this weight that's thrown at me on a regular basis. And I'm thankful for it because every time I beat one of those motherfuckers that comes in my way, I get to go to the next level. Right? It's just like life's a video game, and when you get to the big boss at the end of the level, and you're fighting, and you're shooting your gun, you're doing whatever you got to do to win, all the codes and commands and all the stuff that you've got to do, you advance to the next level. And so that's how I look at the struggle in my life, right? Things are going to come up. People are going to do dumb shit in my business. My referral partners are going to fuck up. There's going to be competitors come in and take competition from me. My kids are going to get in trouble at school. My wife's going to be unhappy because I haven't been home for 3 weeks, and things like that are going to happen. But I'm thankful for my ability to solve these problems. See, many of us, if you ask, you say, are you a problem solver? And you say, hell yeah, I'm a problem solver. But as soon as life's problems come your way, you become a problem victim. Right? We like to tell ourselves that we solve problems. I can solve your problems all day long, right? I can point out everything there is wrong with you and tell you exactly how to fix it, right? That's what we do. It even says that in the Bible, right? It's like, don't point out the speck in your brother's eye when you have a plank in your own, right? I should have said that in a more articulate language, but that's the bottom of it, right? It doesn't feel like I need like an English accent. Thou shalt not, right?
We've got no King James.
But so, I realized I have to be thankful for everything. And so, gratitude is a big part of my day. I'm going to give you my daily routine that I follow that's allowed me to get where I'm at. For those of you, how many people in the room like never heard of me ever? Never seen one of my ads, anything? Well, that's fucking great. All right, cool. So, you know, I built a big business, several of them, from software to real estate to online coaching to, I built a mortgage business back in the day, and I've been resilient in everything that I've done. I was just looking back today. I had dinner with the guy last night, that did $2.6 billion in real estate transactions last year. He's the broker. Obviously, nobody can sell that many houses. That'd be impossible. But he's a broker. His company is responsible for $2.6 billion last year. And I remember just 7 years ago when we were in his apartment meeting for the first time so that I could run his social media for $100 a month, right? Like thinking about like all the struggles he's been through and everything else. And so the reason why I share that with you is a lot of people, they get to a point where they stop being grateful for things. And that's when you really start losing. You know, so the first thing that I do, I'm gonna give you my daily routine because you've got to rewire your mind to think a certain way if you're really gonna be successful. Now, I'm gonna go really deep into this, but the first thing I do every single morning when I wake up is I grab my phone. I know people like Ty Lopez tell you to stay off of it and everything else first thing in the morning. That's the first thing that I do. I open up Evernote, I create a new note, and in that note, I title it the date, right? Today's date's 2/8 or whatever it is, 2/7, whatever it is, 2/7/19 we'll say. And I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for on that note. Now, that sounds real simple. I told you everything I was going to give you is not complicated, but here's the mindset principle behind this. The first thing when you wake up in the morning, you're looking for something to be grateful for. You're making your brain search for gratitude first thing when you get up in the morning. You know what usually happens first thing in the morning? You check your phone, there's an email, it's a cancellation, shit didn't go right, inspection went bad, somebody's pissed off, employee's not coming in, a bill you forgot to pay, whatever the fuck it is, right? Somebody that's demanding money that you didn't expect to pay. It's like, I thought I paid the appraiser already, or I thought I did this, right? Like, this shit's there waiting for you. And so I know that struggle's right there on the other side of that glass on that device every single day, if not first thing in the morning, for sure at some point during the day, right? So I've got to search first before I become angry. I've got to search for great gratitude. And that reminds me, because one of the things I write down almost every damn morning is I'm grateful for my problems, because I have the ability to solve them. So far they haven't solved me, I'm still here, right? So I'm grateful for my problems. And because, again, that's a mindset that you have to have. If not, you'll fall victim to them. So every morning, I work on my mindset. I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. No more than 5. It's quick. I'm usually done within about 10 seconds. I'm not articulating paragraphs and shit like that. It's like, hey, I'm thankful for Wayne. I'm thankful today for Jeff. I'm thankful today for Billy, right? I'm writing that on the note. It's that simple. I leave that note open, and we'll get back to that at the end of this routine. So we call our way of life and our entourage the G code, right? It stands for the greatness code. And so there's 4 micro commitments that you have to make every single day if you're truly going to be able to break through any glass ceilings, any barriers that hold you back, any of that stuff. There's 4 things that you have to do every single day. The first one I just told you about is gratitude, right? So you got to rewire your mind to think for what you're thankful for first thing in the morning. The second G is, there's 4 G's, right? Just break it down, because if you're an internet marketer, you got to use acronyms and fancy, it's right, how it sticks, that's just how it works, right? So the second G is your genetics. One of the things I told my wife years ago was, if something ever happens to me and I'm deathly ill or I'm in a car accident or whatever, just pull the plug, right? Like, save the money. Don't spend hundreds of thousands of our family's money to try to keep me alive. It's not that important. Let me go. You got life insurance coming in. The last thing I want you to do is owe the hospital money that our family needs to survive on the way out, right? Now, I know that sounds really morbid, but it's my job to make sure that shit doesn't happen, right? And none of us are perfect. We have genetic flaws in our families and shit like that we can't control, but we can try. So I'm up in the morning, I'm eating healthy. First day in the morning, I have a protein shake from my man Andy Frisella with First Form. They make the cleanest protein there is out there. I know personally, I've seen their labs, I've seen how they do it, I've seen how Andy's a friend of mine, and I see how protein is his shit. Like, he's enthusiastic about it. They have the best, cleanest protein out there, right? Because I'm gonna put the good shit in my body. It doesn't make any sense to go do all this stuff in the gym and eating right and everything else, and I'm putting some sugary junk for protein in my body that comes from muscle milk or something like that, right?
What's it called?
It's called First Form. Like number 1 STPHORM, First Form. Andy's one of my mentors. That company does about $800 million a year in supplement sales. They're, needless to say, his car collection is even nicer than mine. So it's like, you think you got some nice shit till you go over to Ed's house or Andy's place. I'll explain that here in a little bit. But so I eat either a First Form protein bar, which by the way is the only delicious. I don't get paid by Andy to promote this shit, but I'm saying it's the only delicious protein bar I've ever had, and their protein is good too. And I make it with almond milk, right? Because I know the cow milk's full of hormones and everything else, right? So these little small conscious tweaks that I'm doing, it tastes the same shit as chocolate protein. It tastes the same where it's almond milk or cow milk, but almond milk isn't grown with hormones and trapped in this stuff, right? And I'm not a vegan or any weird shit like that. I'm just saying little make sense shifts, right? Apparently they're all mad at the Super Bowl commercial, right? What's so bad about beet salad? Fucking sucks. Nobody wants beet salad. My first 10 years of my life, I thought that shit was Thanksgiving decoration. I didn't know anybody really ate the shit. Like your grandma shows up and has the shit sitting there and everybody's like, yeah, pass the mashed potatoes and turkey. But so anyway, so I have almond milk protein shake, right? Then I go to the gym. Okay, I've been working out since the day I found out I was going to prison, just being honest. And I was real skinny, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get my life together, right? I gotta start working out. And like I got a year to gain 90 pounds. And so I've been doing that for a long time. I was about 19 years old when I started working out. And in 2014, I switched to CrossFit. And it served me for a while, but I found myself in the same routine, like picking up the same weights, doing the same workouts, and the same thing that they planned for you. There's nobody really in the group. There was people that were stronger than me, but they were so strong I couldn't catch them anyway. And then there was like, I just kind of felt average in it, right? So I hired a personal trainer about 9 or 10 months ago, and he set me straight on some genetic stuff as well, like what supplements to take that fit my body type, right? They ran blood tests and all this other stuff on me. He keeps measuring where we're at body fat wise, where we're at weight wise. We measure in calories, because what gets measured gets improved, right? Yeah. A lot of times we eat 2 or 3 Snicker bars and we forget, right? Or 2 or 3 little candies from out here, and an hour later we forgot that we even ate the shit, but that stuff starts to add up, right? It's just like anything else. You got to be disciplined. I'm in better shape now at 40 than I was at 20. Right, but that's by design. I also have to work 5 times as fucking hard, because I could eat that cheap protein and candy and everything else at 20 that I can't now. But I also understand that it's important. I have an important role. I can't afford to mess that up. You know what I mean? I have an important role for my family, the people who love me, my clients. And so the millions of people that I'm trying to impact and am impacting on a regular basis, it's my responsibility to be healthy. I can't afford to catch a cold. Matter of fact, last week, everybody in my family had the flu. My wife, my kids, everybody but me and the youngest. Right? And I was like, man, you know what? I don't think that, I probably did have it, but I don't think it was ever able to penetrate this right here, because I read an article somebody sent to me that said the hustle keeps you from getting sick, because you're so worried about your problems and what you got going on that nothing stops you and your body just fights it without you knowing it anyway. Isn't that cool? The human mind's crazy. The human mind's the hustle heals, baby. I'm Reverend Jimmy Swaggart, and I'm here to tell you the hustle heals, ladies and gentlemen. So when I go to the gym, I have a personal trainer, right? He's somebody who pushes me. I never in my life thought that I'd be able to pick up 430 pounds on a deadlift. I never in my life thought I'd be able, at 40 years old, be able to pick up 355 pounds on squats and do sets of 3. And I never would have done that. And he's not sitting here going, hey man, what you need to do is break your kneecaps and make sure your back's fucked up by the time you're 55. Like, he's totally helped me do that stuff to where it's no strain, there's no hurt. Shit, I find out I was doing a lot of things wrong over the years, right? And so now we're measuring and improving. I didn't just start off that way with him. It's like, hey, I've been lifting forever, let me pick this up. I'd killed myself, but through training, just like martial arts or anything else, it's helped. So I'm working on my genetics. The other thing is that I've learned about genetics and like losing weight, keeping things down, is I like fast food just like anybody else. As a matter of fact, let me rephrase that. I don't like fast food, but it's fucking convenient. And I like convenience, right? And some days if I'm hungry, I don't have time to go order a salad and some grilled chicken from some restaurant or whatever. I'm a busy dude. I run 5 different companies, so oftentimes I don't have any time at all. I gotta call Grubhub or some shit to bring it to me. Or I just go eat downstairs to the cafeteria in our office, and that stuff's not necessarily healthy either. But what he taught me was, he said, well, just eat half of it and see if you want the rest. You know, shit, I still ate like I was in prison. Like, who will take my cornbread, dude? So I'm like, I'm done eating in like 5 seconds, you know? And I eat the whole thing till there's nothing left on the plate. And he's like, dude, eat half of it. You want a hamburger? Cool, just eat half of it. Eat 2 or 3 fries. Wait 5 or 10 minutes before you take another bite. It's changed my life. Turns out I only need a half a hamburger. Who knew, right? This whole time, who knew? Me and my wife now, we go out on date night. We just split whatever steak or whatever that we're getting. And it's not huge cuts that I'm making in my life. Going, you gotta go keto, you gotta starve yourself, right? And you gotta wax all of your body hair off, because every pound counts, right? Like, I'm not trying to tell you to do any of that, just making these little decisions. Last thing is, I don't eat dinner past 7:30 if I can help it. Sometimes I'm on the road or an airplane. I'm not perfect. These things are 80% of the time. That's the what I consider. If I can do these things 80% of the time, then I'm doing perfect in my mind, right? And so the last thing is, for dinner, I never eat anything heavy. I always eat a salad with chicken. Now, my wife is like a certified food hacker. She is like Rachel Ray and Martha Stewart, like all wrapped into one, but looks more like Pamela Anderson. And so, in her prime. And so, just to be clear, Pam's getting a little old now. I kind of dated myself there. But so, you know, she makes a different salad every night of the week. Just different ingredients, just a little here and there tweaks. And so I'm not taking a bunch of calories before I go to sleep either. I cut out drinking. Instead of having 10 drinks or 50 drinks when I go out like I used to, I'll have 1 or 2, or I'll just have soda with a lime in it that looks like I'm drinking and nobody will ever notice the difference. You know, you never realize how cool bartenders are until you tell them, it's like, no, I'm staying sober tonight, but I don't want them to know. Just like, give me a soda with some lime and play it off. Next thing you know, they're like your best friend. They're like, this is the one dude guaranteed not to do dumb drunk shit in my fucking bar tonight, right? It kind of changes the relationship there. But these little small tweaks in my genetics and in my diet and my habits over the last 8 months have made a huge difference, right? I went from 22% body fat to 13% body fat. I went from waking up tired as hell in the morning because I woke up multiple times in the night. Many of us do that and don't even realize it. They wake up tired as hell in the morning. Luckily for me, I just forced myself into doing whatever. So I have this theory, you have to act your way into a feeling because you will never feel your way into action, right? So in the morning, I don't feel like going to the gym and doing all this shit. I just do it. And then the feeling, if it comes, right? I've still got to do it regardless. So my friend David Goggins, who's, if you haven't read that book, Can't Hurt Me, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. He was my coach in 2017. And great dude, we've maintained our relationship. Just awesome dude when it comes to mindset. And he's like, man, you never want to get back in that cold water. When you're in hell week, when you're out there with the enemy, when you're doing your thing, you never want to get back in that cold water. Even if you have a wetsuit on, you never want to get back in. He goes, and if you wait till you feel like getting back in, you'll be cut from seals. He goes, so you just got to get back in, man. You just got to take action. Eventually the water feels cold and you get used to it, you know. It's just the same thing with us. So work on your genetics, man. Just make little small tweaks, and over time it adds up. The next G is your grind. Here's where most people, this G-R-I-N-D, right? Here's where most people fuck up. They search for this balance in life. You ever hear people say that all the time, right? So you gotta have balance. You know what I mean? Dude, you gotta get balance. What about your family, man? You gotta get balance, right? What about my family? I'm working my ass off for my family so that they don't have to do the things and they don't have to go through the shit that I went through. My 3 little boys are in private school right now. That's the first time I ever even seen the inside of a private school is when I wrote the check to that fucking place, right? The city I came from, they didn't even have private schools in it. I don't think they still don't have any private schools there, right? So like, but my wife, different story. I look up and my wife totally changed my life, right? That's what a good woman does. But when we first started dating, you know, my friends were like potheads and half of them had been to prison and shit. There's fucking people I knew from the neighborhood, you know? And then I find out like I go meet her friends, and they're all from private school because that's how she grew up, right? Shit, one of them's the lady on Saturday Night Live. The other one owns Suja Juice. One of them's fucking John McCain's daughter and shit. And I was like, damn, man, there is some serious privilege in this country that I didn't fucking know about, right? I was like, I want my kids to have that. Up until that point, it's like, I'm going to raise my kids rough. They're going to grow up and be hardcore like me and everything else. And I met her, and I was like, hell no, there's no way I'm putting them through that shit now that I know that this exists, right? But everybody looks for this balance between family, and the truth is, my buddy Tim Grover says this, he's like, the only time that a scale is balanced is when it's on 0. Who in the fuck wants to be a 0? Not me. I don't want to be a 0. So we got to accept that you're not going to find balance, right? Like if we find balance, that sounds something that would be in like your comfort zone, right? We know nothing good happens from your comfort zone. And so instead, what you're looking for is to invest the majority of your time in your grind. Your business needs to get the majority of your time. And you think about it, some of you in the room are looking at me all crazy. It's like, well, I love my family and vacations, and that's fine. I didn't say it has to get all of your time. I said the majority. Think about it. A day has 24 hours in it, right? We got to work at least 8 of those 24, and we're going to need to at least sleep 6 or 7 of those 24, plus traffic back and forth, other appointments and shit that comes up. There's no way we can balance that out. There's no way that we can give them equal time. So stop trying to do that. Stop trying to fight that and cut this at work and do this. Here's a better way of making this happen. Make the time with your family matter. You see, if I know that I got to be on my grind all day, I got to show up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I usually don't leave till after 5. Sometimes it's fucking midnight. I hadn't been home for the last 3 weeks until this week. Like, I go home, switch out suitcases, leave and go back to the airport to go to the next place. I've been to Laguna Beach, San Diego, Tampa, the Bahamas. I'll tell you a story about that before we leave today. And down to Miami, and then back here, all within the last 3 weeks. You know, my oldest kid, yeah, it's nice and warm, but you know, some of it was on a private jet too. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't horrible, but I'm talking to my oldest kid. He's just like me. Like he's like no fucks given, terrible sense of humor. And he goes, Dad, are we still gonna call you Dad, or is there somebody else gonna show up around here soon? Right? Like, you little shit. I know what you're doing, you little shit, man, but that's how he is. You can't get mad at him, he's just like me. That's something I'd say too. It's like, Amy's probably gonna find somebody else if you don't show up around here, Dad. So I'm not home that much, but when I'm home, I make the time matter. Okay, so this is what I do. I know if I'm gonna quit work 5:30 or 6. I know my youngest, who is a year and a half old, he goes to sleep 7 to 7:30. So first thing I do when I get home, hanging out with Colton, right? We make our time. He's real young. He's a year and a half old. He's almost 2 years old now. And so he's still real young. So, good 30, 45 minutes with him. Father-son time, we're good. The older two go to sleep about 8:30. So I spend my time with them every single day. I'm in there for the next hour hanging out with them. Once they're asleep, then I got time to hang out with my wife till like 9:30 or 10. Right? And that time is on my schedule every night. There's no phone, there's no nothing. And one of the other tricks that I've learned, because I fucked up 3 relationships, I'm trying to keep this one, you know what I'm saying? And so one thing that I've learned is like we don't communicate during the day unless it's an emergency, my wife and I. There's no, hey babe, what are you up to? And it's not because we don't love each other, but if we talk all day, then we don't have shit to say to each other when we get home. Right? How was your day? Oh yeah, I know everything. You texted it to me. It's like I know everything you did because we texted all day long, so you have no reason to talk. So you find yourself getting on the phone. Instead, what I do is I have no fucking idea what she did for the day. So when I get home, like, tell me about your day. I actually want to hear it because I wasn't told about it all day long. This makes a big difference, right? And so again, it doesn't have to be balanced time-wise. You just make the time count. Once a week, my wife and I go out on a date night. It's mandatory, whether she's mad at me or not, right? We're going to go out on a date night. We went out last night. Sometimes it's a couples deal where we go out with a couple friends of ours or friends of hers. Sometimes it's just us. We never take the kids, It's time away for the kids. She's always cooking dinner and shit like that, so she gets time to relax and eat without someone pulling on this, that, and the other, wanting stuff from her. And we do, we've been doing this for 5 years now almost. And so we have to spice things up, right? So we go to the S&M store. No, I'm just kidding. But maybe, you never know. But no, we've been doing escape rooms and different things like that, different theme parties and stuff, just like different shit that we've never experienced before. I think we're about to take like ballroom dancing or some shit like that, right? We're gonna, Friday Night Fever on people and everything, So just fun stuff to do, right? We've already been to the movies, we've already done the dates and the bars, and you know what I mean? So we're just trying to do fun stuff and spice it up. So it's never it's another date night, restaurant, and vodka soda for Stewman, and steak for me. It's not like that. It's like you never know what we're gonna get. But the time that I'm with them, right? Last night we're not sitting there on our phones answering emails and shit like that. We're hanging out, being in the room. We had a 4-hour dinner. It was like $800. JP ordering bottles of wine and shit. Like, hold on, man, I didn't do 2.6 billion last year. That one says it's $500. You paying for that? Oh, we splitting it? This last one. So, yeah, I don't like wine anyway, And he's like ordering. He's like, American wine is trash. You gotta have this European wine. I'm like, fuck, 4 or 5. How many decibels in that picture? You ever sell like $5,000 bottles of wine? I'm like, man, please don't let him order that one. Please don't let him order that one. So. Once a week, I take my kids somewhere, right? All 3 of them. And I spend time every day individually with them. But once a week, I take all 3 of them out, too, for 2 reasons. A, that gets them out of Amy's hair for a little while, right? So she can relax and do whatever. And sometimes I'll take them and send a Soothe massage person. You ever use Soothe? It's like Uber for a massage therapist. And so I'll send a Soothe over there so she gets a massage while I'm taking the kids out. I do it once a week. And it's good times with me and my boys. We got 4-wheelers, so we go 4-wheeling or go to like Ninja Warrior. Or, we've been to the Nerf gun place where you fight Nerf guns and stuff like that. And as they get older, I'm sure we'll do even more cool stuff, So it's still fun. I get to act like, I'm there for them, but really it was my idea that we go to those places in the first place, right? Like, yeah, Nerf guns, we'll definitely go in there. You guys want to go, right? So, but I make the time count because they'll say my dad worked his ass off, but they'll never say I wasn't there for them. right? Now, I may not give them 10 hours a day. I may only give them 1 or 2, but they're getting it every single day, and it's all about them. The next thing, the last thing, so there's 4 things. The last thing is your group. And that's the people that are around you, the group of folks around you, your employees, your referral partners, your clients, your family, your friends. Most of us, if we were telling the truth, we'd have to say we're shitty friends, right? Like, when's the last time you called a couple of your homeboys or homegirls up and took them out to dinner, right? I can tell you when I did, it was last night, because I'm doing my best to be a good friend, just like I'm doing my best to be a good family man. Last thing I want is when I die, nobody to show up in my funeral or it to be a burden to somebody. I want people up there telling Stewman stories for days when I die. You won't believe this shit. One time when he's that's how all the stories with me involved start, right? So, that's what I want. So in order to do that, if I'm gonna have good friends, then I gotta be a great friend. I gotta be the guy that initiates stuff, right? Sometimes I can be annoying, it's well, it doesn't work for Wayne. What day works for you, GP? Okay, well, that doesn't work for Jeff because he's busy that day. It's fucking, all my friends are busy and shit, so it's hard to coordinate, but I make it happen. I don't just give up. I make it happen because, again, I want to be a good friend to them. And I have people we meet with, I know he's a member of your program too, Brent Hicks, and Mike and Jay, Todd Abrams, and my lawyer, his name's Micah, and Logan Graff, who does, $50 or $60 million a year in roofs. So we meet once every other month, right? And it's mandatory. We just get together. We don't talk about business. We just hanging out, just being friends, having a few beers, telling funny stories about our kids and ourselves and our wives and stuff like that. You don't realize how many people go to dinner with somebody like Wayne and they're like, Wayne, let me pick your brain. You're like, fuck, dude, I thought we were gonna be friends, man. Now you want this business advice. My head hurts, man, because we suffer from something. It's some real shit called decision fatigue. First thing in the morning, your decisions are real easy and real clear. By the end of the day, you've made so many decisions, you're just burned out on making good decisions, so you're more likely to make bad decisions. That's why so many people make bad decisions in the nighttime in the bar and everything else, because they've got decision fatigue. We see 5,000 ads a day. We have to decide what clothes to wear, what watch to put on, what car to drive, what boots to wear, what socks to wear, what color underwear, what time to eat. Dude, we just get burned out at the end of the day. There's 2 good lessons from this. People make foolish decisions at the end of the day. When's the best time to offer your products? If they're tired if there's easy decisions at the end of the day, the best time in sales is the end of the day. It's been proven. It's easier to get somebody to make a decision because they've got decision fatigue. And so I share that with you because I want to be a good friend. I want the people around me. I already explained how I work with my family. Same with my employees. I do all sorts of extra stuff for them. I just took them out I belong to the Cowboy Club up the street, which is Jerry Jones' private club. And I just took all my employees there Tuesday night, just so that we could hang out and have a good time. We took a few of our clients and all the employees, and I paid for their drinks and food. I want to treat them good. My referral partners, man, I send little extra swag and stuff like that to them in the mail all the time. They don't ask me for it. They're not going, hey, man, let me get a book or a hat or whatever. We send them that kind of stuff. Man, we just want to be there for them. We may not be able to meet them in person. Just this morning, I made a few calls to some people that are good friends of mine, like Satima. It's like, hey, man, what are you up to? Turns out I'm in the middle of, he said this, he goes, turns out I'm actually in the middle of teaching these guys on the beach, but I saw you called, so I figured I better stop and answer the phone. By all means, get back to work, right? So those 4 micro commitments every day. Working on your gratitude, which is your mindset, being grateful for everything, even the struggle, right? Working on your genetics, taking care of your health, because the last thing you want to do is give all your money away to a hospital. The 3rd thing, working on your grind, which is going to take the most of your time. Get with that, right? Understand. And the 4th thing is the group of people that you hang around. So many people try to be a 67-point checklist of what they've got to do every single day. When you break it down to these 4 micro commitments, here's how I'm going to tie all that together for you. At the end of the night, when I'm laying in bed,